happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day tomorrow. And I see Eric is there saying hello and happy Halloween. We are all very excited. So I am going to be doing a little bit of like a Nightmare Before Christmas Halloween, in that I'm doing some Christmas earrings, because if you have been out and about, you know that Christmas is everywhere too. So we are fully in this holiday season of Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and it all gets rolled into one. So I know if you're watching the show live today on October 30th, it's a little late to make a Halloween project and order supplies for it. So we have Christmas on the show today, and I already warned my family that the day after Halloween is fair game. I get to listen to Christmas music. And I see Lori is here. Hi, Lori. It's good to see you. So this is going to be a really fun show. We're going to make 3 pairs of earrings. They are dainty. So I usually do like big statement earrings, and I love big statement earrings. But I wanted to do a little bit more of a petite earring, something that's a little bit more wearable for everybody, or if you're giving a gift this holiday season, sometimes it can be a bit of a bold decision to give like a really big statement earring to somebody, but dainty earrings everybody loves, and they're great for all ages too. And I see Kat is here and Diane. Good morning. And see, for my nod to Halloween, I have my little bunny shirt. My little bunny is dressed up like a carrot. So if you guys, hi Santa Barbara girl and Kristen and Julie and Blue girl from Florida, and I see St. Louis here in Illinois. Oh my gosh, that is fun to see everybody and where they are coming from. Okay, I want to talk really quick about this platform and how it works in case we have any people joining us for the first time. We are live. Hello, you might be seeing this on Facebook or on YouTube or over at artbeads.com/live. If you are on artbeads.com/live, I can see your comments and I can read them. And if you have suggestions, I can see those in real time, which is wonderful. Now, if you are over on Facebook or YouTube, there's a link in the description. Click on that link. It'll take you over to Artbeads so that I can see your comments as we go. Oh, and I see Jeanette is here from Nebraska. Hello. Okay, a couple other quick things is if you like what you see, click the little heart icon on your screen. It makes little floaty hearts for me. If you want to share this, there's a little arrow. All these videos are archived and saved, so you can go back and rewatch them. And then that shopping bag icon is really important because it shows you everything in the entire show all at once, and you can add it right to your shopping cart. So if there's something you love, snatch it up and add it to your shopping cart during the show. Oh, hi, Julie and Deborah. Hello. Oh, and Deborah's saying it's cold there in Denver. Oh my gosh, we have a coworker who's in Denver, and she was telling us that. She was saying it was going to be very cold to take her dog out on a walk. So that is fun to see that you are in Denver too. I'm reading the comments. I see Jean Marie, gift giving Christmas is just around the corner. It absolutely is. I hope you guys like these earrings because I think they're a really good gift idea. It'd be really fun to make a handmade gift. But lots of other great gift ideas. We also have our bead llama kits, which are great gift ideas too. So check those out if you haven't seen them. All right, guys, I want to get beading because we have 3 earrings to make in this show. So I'm going to flip my camera down so you guys can see what it is and we can start designing. So here we go. That was a picture of my backyard, and it might not look it, but it's actually been cold here too. I have socks on and we turned the heater on a couple of nights ago because we were all freezing. All right, I'm pulling my hair back so it doesn't get in my face. And it's so nice to see such familiar names and such nice friends here. Okay, so what we're going to be making, these are the 3 earrings. So we're going to do a really quick and easy one. I think this looks like a Christmas cracker. So this one I'm kind of thinking in terms of a Christmas cracker. This is our instant gratification, super quick and easy one using beautiful prestige crystals, and you see how they sparkle. Then another one is we're going to make a little holiday wreath. So this is a little holiday wreath. And we're going to go ahead and do a real simple bead weaving. It's almost like a daisy stitch, but we're going to turn it into a wreath. And then the last one, which I think is probably the hardest, is going to be this little brick stitch, kind of like a Christmas tree. Now I have this green in the shopping bag, and I put kind of a brighter green. So this kind of has that Victorian old world color palette. But if you want to make it a little bit more modern, traditional, I put a brighter green in the shopping bag as well. So we're going to do that. And then I wanted to show you real quick, because it is still a day before Halloween, the same technique that was used to make the little Christmas tree, you can make a candy corn. So that's kind of fun too. So always be thinking of how you could modify these and what else you can do with these techniques. A quick note, I put in the shopping bag the yellow and the orange, and then the white just went out of stock. I did put an alternative in there, or you could be notified for when it comes back in stock. But I thought that was really cute for a Halloween earring as well. All right. So my thread, I'm going to be using Wildfire, and I'm going to be using 0.006. Oh, I'm glad you love the candy corn. Yeah, my son wanted to steal this as soon as I made it. And you could put a bicone, cubes to make it the trunk. Oh, that would be cute. Yes. So for Santa Barbara Girl is saying you could use a bicone or some cubes to make the trunk of the tree. That would be really cute there as well. Okay, and then we are going to use Wildfire, and I pulled black and white. A general rule of thumb is just pick which one you think will blend in best with your beads. I'm going to be using black because it's going to be the easiest to demonstrate showing up against my cream colored beading mat, but always just pick which one you like. It doesn't really matter, and a lot of times it just disappears. Okay, and then I'll be using a size 11 tulip needle. I'll be using my Yuki Delicas in 11.0, and these are the colors for the tree, and then these are the colors for the wreath, and they are in that shopping bag, and I thought these were so pretty, and this has like a really pretty AB on it. So that would be really pretty to kind of give you that extra sparkle. I also thought if you didn't want to do stripes, you could absolutely make the entire tree green and then put little dots of the red and the gold to look like Christmas ornaments, and then put a gold bicone up top as well. So that's another option for this design. Okay, and then what else do we have? We have my favorite earring hooks. These are what I always call long, elegant earring hooks. I just think they're very pretty, and they're a really nice, affordable earring hook as well. You get a big pack of them, so they last forever. And then what else do we have? We've got our head pins that we'll be using. We've got 4mm jump rings, and we've got our crystals. And I see Susie's asking, are those wire or coated threads? They are threads, so they are not wire. So this is a thermal bonded bead weaving thread is what it says right here. So they're going to have a lot more flexibility than wire, so you're going to be able to really work with them and get them into the nooks and crannies. Now for this particular project here, you could use a thinner thread as well. I wanted to, again, use a little bit heavier thread, just is going to give it a little bit more stability, and you're going to be able to see it better on camera too. So you always have options. So kind of remember that, like whenever I'm showing something, this is how I do it, but there's always options, and there's definitely more than one way to do something. And you could take the design and embellish it or change it or use it as a component, as like a starting point. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to do the quick and easy earring first. So we start off today having a project already done. So this is going to be just your standard 2-inch head pin. And we have a bicone. So if you see that, it's got that pretty little bit of color coming off of it. So you got the red, and then you have the pretty little shimmer. And then this is an olive bead. So if you're not familiar with the olive bead, it's a really nice shape. So it's almost like an oval, and it's complete all around. So you know when you get some crystals, they're kind of flattened, and they'll have a front and a back and sides. This is much like a round bead, whereas it has facets and it's full all the way around, but it's oval shaped. So I really think that this is a nice bead. And they call that the olive bead. Okay, so we've made basically like a little Christmas cracker. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a wrapped wire loop on the end. So I'm going to grab my good old wire looping pliers. So here they are. And if you look, it's got that round nose and that concave nose. And what we're going to do is we are going to grab this just a little bit above where it exits the bead. You want to have a little gap there, one for your crimping when you do the pliers, and two to allow a space for your wrappings. So there is just a little bit of a gap right there. And we're going to squeeze. The pliers do most of the work for us, so they've made that loop for us. We're just going to rotate up to the top, crisscross, remove our pliers so that loop is done. And then we're going to go in with a pair of chain nose pliers. We're going to hold it and wrap. And I know everyone has a different preference on the number of wraps they do, as long as it's secure. So if you do one wrap and it's secure, you're good. If you want to do 2 or 3, definitely that's fine too. I usually do about 2. Oh, hi Tina. Thank you for joining us. Happy Halloween. And Merry Christmas, because I'm ready to start saying that too, especially with the show. All right, so we have those wrappings up top now. And now we're just going to take our earring hook and open it up. And slip it on. And we have a really quick and easy Christmas cracker earring. So this is the first earring of the trio that we're going to make. So you can see what this looks like. So that's a really pretty sparkly earring wear for festive occasions. Just wear the holiday seasons. They sparkle so much you'll probably get lots of compliments on them because they're really going to show up. Okay, so that's earring number 1. Now the second one I want to do is the wreath. I'm going to leave the hardest to the end. I think the wreath will be really fun to do. So this here, you see, you could do this in any color of your choosing. I think it's fun to have a couple colors that alternate. That way it looks a little bit more, a little bit more intriguing to have that pattern. But if you want to make this all like Christmas green and make it a Christmas wreath, you could definitely do that as well. So I'm going to pull open my tubes, and I like this gold color. It's very sparkly. Okay, just pour some out. Please don't rush Christmas. I know. I love Christmas so much. Where did I put my tube? Okay. So when does everyone start decorating? I usually wait until the day after Thanksgiving. So that Friday. I always decorate on that Friday. But I so want to decorate early this year. All right, I'm gonna put the green out too because I'm gonna be using it for the next one. So I'm just gonna kind of get my piles ready. So Kat, yes, other shaped beads should work for the wreath design. For the Christmas tree, I would stick with cylinders because they're going to stack up a little tighter and neater. But for this Christmas tree, it should work. Other shapes you could do as well. Okay, so we're going to start with about 24 inches of our thread. I think in the sample I used white thread, so you can see that you're not really seeing the thread at all, but I definitely want to use black here so it picks up on camera better. I think it's worth it to have it so it shows up. Yeah, I should decorate. Teresa says, then you should decorate. Make yourself happy. You know what? I think you're right. I should decorate. And my kids love the holiday season too. So I think they would not mind at all if we started to decorate early. Maybe we'll sneak a few items in. Okay, so what we're going to do is we have this here. We're going to place a needle on it. What I tend to do is I run my nail on the tip of the thread and it flattens it just slightly. So I'm going to now find that needle. It was somewhere. Here it is. Okay, and I'm going to put it on it. Oh, Tina, I'm reading your message. You've had some health issues, but you're starting to decorate this weekend. Oh, good. Moving slower, but doing better. That is really good to hear. I will say I too have been having some health issues, and I am right there with you. Moving a bit slower, but but doing better. And then I love it too. Like, yes, we should decorate. We should decorate. If that makes us happy and we're enjoying it and it brings a smile to our face, we should definitely do it. Okay, so we got our thread on, and you see I have a pretty long tail there right here, and that's because it just makes it so it's actually less to work with. It feels like it's a little shorter than it is, so that's what we're gonna do. Oh, and Julie's saying we don't have as much time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know what? You're right. It's because Thanksgiving, I think, is the 28th or 29th this year of November. Okay, so we're going to start with 4. No, we're not. We're going to start with 6. 6 beads onto our needle. Yes, Tina, we absolutely should. I agree. And we should start playing those movies. Okay, so we're going to take these and we're going to slide them down, and we don't have a stopper bead. So I don't have any stopper bead on here. And what we're going to do is recount this and make sure I have 6, because I see 5 on there. So I've got a bead somewhere that fell off. So always, what is it? Measure twice, cut once. So same with beads. Count twice, tie your knot once. Okay, so now I've got 6 on there. So I'm leaving a tail of about 6 inches, maybe 7. Oh, thank you, Santa Barbara girl. Okay, and I'm just making a loop. See how I made a little loop with those beads? And now what I'm gonna do is pull it tight so we have a little round right here. See, we've got that little round. And then we're gonna make another little knot, just to go in the same place as the first knot. And that's kind of how we're securing that end to start with. So instead of using a stopper bead and kind of having a clunkier bead in that beginning spot, I chose to just tie a knot to begin with. But my tail is long enough that at the very end, I'll be able to go back and rethread my needle onto it. So what I want to do for this one is I want to alternate gold, red to make my wreath. So I'm going to now go through one of my reds that is next to my knot. Okay, so now we have our thread coming out. And now what we need is we need another cluster of 6, but we already are starting with 1 from the previous cluster. So kind of if you're familiar with right angle weave, I'm going to move these out of the way because I think they're going to snag. It's kind of a similar concept where you're using a bead from the previous cluster in the new cluster. So now we're going to pick up 5 of our gold beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just have those on our needle right there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to loop around. So we exited a bead. We want to go through that same bead that we exited, but the other direction to make a full loop. So you see here, there's a good, hopefully that's a good camera angle for you. So you see that the thread came out one end, we're just making a big loop around it. And I like to hold the beadwork I've already done. And now you can see this loop forming with all the beads. And now they've made a little round. So now we've got 2 rounds. Oh, and hello to Alabama. It's fun to see where we all are. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through 3 beads. So there's 1, 2. I want to go through the 3rd one. Sometimes you can go through all 3 at once. Sometimes you go through 2 and then a 3rd. Okay, so now we're exiting this bead right here. So same thing, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up 5 more of the red beads. And I probably should have made a little sample that was the progress of this, but I thought, oh, I'll do the whole thing in the show. Okay, so 5 beads on the needle. And same deal. So we just loop back around and go back through that bead that we exited, but going in the other direction. And pull, you see it makes a little loop. And these now make a little loop. So now we've got 3 clusters. Yeah, it is. It's very much like right angle weave. So it's like the base the base row for right angle weave, but using an initial start of 6 beads. I know a lot of right angle weave uses 4 beads, so we've got 3, and what we want to get up to is a total of 14. So I'm going to kind of try to go here a little faster, but it's going to be the exact same thing we've been doing. There's absolutely no change here until the very last cluster. So you'll do 13 of these with no change, and then on the 14th there's going to be a little bit of a different way of doing it, just so that you connect your 2 sides to form a wreath. And I can see that I am seeing the black thread here through this a little bit more than I saw that white thread in the sample that I did. So probably for this one, if you don't want to see the thread, I would do that white wildfire, but it's still going to be very slight. So if you've got the black and you want to use the black, go for it. Okay, so we've got 4 already, so we just need to get up to 13. And this is for a small little wreath. If you wanted to make a bigger wreath, you could definitely do more clusters. I just wanted to keep all these earrings dainty, just because I thought that was fun for the holidays, and also I always do big statement earrings, and I wanted to just kind of do something different. But they're still earrings, which are my favorite. I love watching the other designers because I think they do a lot of like necklaces and bracelets, and it's so cool to see their imagination. I know Deb in particular is so good at stringing, and she'll put interesting stringing combos together, and so fun to see. Okay, so just keep going. And we just keep adding to it. So see how it's just building? And you could make this a really delicate, dainty bracelet as well. Or like a focal to a necklace, put a chain, like do an inch of it, like an inch of like a bar necklace. That could be really pretty. Have that just down at the base. And then just a little petite chain. Oh, hi Fern from Alberta. How's your weather there in Canada? We've just been talking about how it's, getting chillier, and I know I turned on the heat and it was really cold in Denver. Okay, here we go. So we just keep doing this. So here we go, and it just builds. And then you see how I'm just kind of holding it in my hand as we go. And I'm doing that because it keeps it out of the way of the thread. So as I'm looping my thread here and there, to not have it dangling is nice. It's actually a lot easier than it getting caught up in the thread. Oh my gosh, cold. -2 Celsius. That is very cold, Fern. Okay. I'll count this here. I'll do a couple more and then I'll count to see where we're at. But we're getting there. And these are my Yuki Delicas, and they're the size 11s, which is a great size. If you do a lot of peyote or brick stitch, this is a really nice size to be able to get some detail in your patterns. Oh, thank you, Santa Barbara girl. I had fun playing with this show. It was fun to pull out the Christmas colors and start thinking in terms of Christmas. All right, so here's what we've got so far. And what we're going to do is add a little bit more. Okay, could you do Rolos as well? Yeah, I think you could. And then Wildfire come in different gauges? It does. There is a couple different ones to choose from. Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong. We got Michelle in the background, who's amazing. I want to say that there is a 0.008, which is a little bit heavier gauge. And I think there's also a slightly thinner one too. But Michelle can definitely answer that with certainty. But I'm pretty certain about the 0.008 because I feel like I've used that one before, which is a nice heavier weight. Okay, where are we? Let's keep going. Okay, so here we go. So it almost looks like a daisy chain, and like we were talking about, it is very similar to right angle weave. So I'm going to count what I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 2 more with the standard method of what we're doing. So this will be number 12. Okay, and Michelle, thank you. So she is letting us know that there's a 0.006 and there's a 0.008. So the 6 is going to be the thinner and the 8 is going to be the heavier. And Wildfire is a very nice thread to work with. It has some good body to it, which is nice when you're working. If you've done a lot with like sewing threads, you know, they're kind of loose and flimsy. And when you use something like a Wildfire thread, it really has some nice structure to it. And it's difficult to pierce too, which is what you want. You don't want to worry about piercing your thread. Okay, I think I'll count again because again, we're going to count twice. And then I think we're ready to connect our 2 together to form our little wreath. Okay, so we want 13. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so now it's time to connect our wreath together. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 2 golds. Okay, so you got 2 gold ones, and you're going to let them slide down. And now what we're going to do is we're also going to start to work on curving our wreath. And this is you're just doing with your hands. So you're going to you can put it down and you can kind of work on it because you're going to bring it together. Okay, see how we just made it into like a little loop right there. And now what we're going to do is we want to take our 2 beads, carry our needle over to the end bead. Here, see this end bead right here of the starting cluster. Pull down. And this is what's going to form our circle. Okay, so we've got that right there. And now we need 2 more beads of gold. And we're going to go up through the bead that we exited here to begin with on the end, on our 13th cluster. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to see this. I have it a little pulled away from me because of the camera. And I don't know about you guys, but the older I get, the smaller the beads get. I don't know. It's just, it is life. It is life, guys. Okay, so there we made a little wreath. Okay, so now we have to finish off our pretty little wreath. And so what we're going to do is what I like to do is I like to retrace my thread path for a bit. So I'm just going to go back. You could add 2 bicones as a bow on top. Oh, that would be really cute too. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I feel there's a way to maybe making this look like a holly wreath if you did the right color seed beads. I feel like you can definitely invoke that feel of color of holly. Okay, so here's our little wreath. And also by going through your thread path again, it stiffens this up a little bit, which is nice too. So, and I'm just literally retracing the threads I've already gone through. So, and this is just giving me a little bit of distance from my join, which I feel like makes it a little bit sturdier. Okay, so when you are happy with, you've gone through it a couple times, you can get to a point where you see a good thread bridge to go under to tie a knot. So I'm just going to do that. Like there's a nice one kind of hanging out right here. I'm just going to slip under it. Makes a little loop. I see it's caught in my tail from before, so just pull that out. So you see that little loop? We're just going to go through it and pull that knot down tight. You can do, I think I have room to do a second knot right there without it showing too much. Same thing, just go through it. And now what I want to do is I want to go through the bead next to it to kind of pull that knot into the bead a little bit so it hides. And we could even go trace our thread paths again some more. So I find everyone ties off their bead weaving differently. I usually do a knot or two, and I space them out throughout the beadwork, and then I weave my threads in. So you can kind of get the idea of what we would do there. If you want to add an extra knot, you can. If you don't, I think it's still going to be secure, especially if you are weaving in your tail a bit more. Okay, and then you just, let me hold this up a little closer. So when you're ready to trim your tail, you just kind of hold the thread tight, and you take your scissors and you cut off your excess. And then you had left this tail right here to be able to go back. Now remember, we started with a knot, so that's good. Unlike a stopper bead, which would have had no security to it when you would have pulled out that stopper bead, by starting with a knot, you already have one knot there, which is helpful for sure. And then we're going to just thread on our needle if we can. Okay, so we've got that needle on there again. Yeah, a couple green beads for the holly if possible. That would have looked really nice. You're right, absolutely. Well, you guys, I would love to see if anyone does this and can make it look like holly. That would be really fun to see, so you could send us pictures of that. Actually, I'm thinking probably the green. I added an extra green to the shopping bag, so you can always go look in that shopping bag. There is a brighter green that might go really nice with this one too. All right, so same principle here. We're just weaving our tail in a little bit. When we see a spot that looks easy to go under a thread bridge, we're just going to do that. And through and tie a knot. You can do a double knot. You can keep it a single knot. Whatever you feel you are comfortable with. And sometimes it's what space will allow. All right, so I'm going to trim this tail, and then I'm going to add the jump ring. Okay, so we have our little, oops. Okay, so we've got our little wreath right here. So there's our little Christmas wreath. And now to add a jump ring, super easy. Well, knock on wood, super easy. I shouldn't say that before I do it. But it was super easy in the sample I did, so let's hope. I know I've struggled here before sometimes getting a jump ring through a seed bead, so hopefully that's not the case this time. Okay, so we opened up a jump ring, so it's in the open position. And you are just going to pick a bead along the edge, and you are just going to, I say just, hopefully just, yep, slip right through the bead. See how that slipped right through it? So that is very secure, which is nice. At this point, you can add your earring hook too. And then you just close it on up. And that jump ring is not going to come out, as opposed to if you attached a jump ring over the thread bridge, you would sometimes have it slip through. But if it's attached through a seed bead, it's going to be really strong. So there's our little Christmas wreath. So I hope you guys liked that one. I think this one turned out to be my favorite project of the trio. Let me show you though, because I am noticing quite a difference between the black and the white thread in terms of what you can see. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's a good comparison. since we have an opportunity to compare. So here's the one with the white thread. Okay, so there's the white thread one. That was the sample. And then the one we just did had the black. And I do feel like I can see the black a bit more than the white. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so we've got 2 holiday earrings that are done. All right, now we're gonna do our tree. Okay, and for those of you who didn't get the very beginning, you can also make candy corns. So lots of things you can do with this shape. Oh my gosh, it's National Candy Corn Day. Oh, thank you, Michelle. I love that. I have to go buy candy corn. I didn't buy any this season. Okay, so we are going to do this. Our base row is going to be 9 beads across, and we're going to do 3 rows of each color, and so it's going to decrease as we go. And if you are familiar with this stitch, which is the brick stitch, it does naturally decrease, which is very nice of it to do that for us. So we don't really have to think about doing decreases because they're going to just kind of happen. Okay, so I'm going to again get some thread, put it on my needle. Again, I'm going to start with about 24 inches. I'm always a little nervous to start with too much less than that, just because I don't want to run out at the end. That would just be a bummer. Okay, so this time we're going to put the needle on, and we are going to have a stopper bead for this one. And everything is in that shopping bag, so I'm not going to too much detail with colors and stuff because you can click on that shopping bag and it'll be in there. So you can see it and add it to your cart. Okay, here we go, guys. So we've got our thread. So I'm just going to use the gold as my stopper bead because the gold is going to be up top and I'm starting with the base green. So I'll know that it's not the right one. I'll have to pull it out later. Okay, so to do a stopper bead, you just string it on and you pass back through it one time, pull, and then you can move it. So if you hold it, you can slide it, and eventually you're going to slide it off, but it slides in both directions. So I want to leave about 6 inches or so that I can go back and weave in my tail. All right, so we're going to start with ladder stitch. So you always start your brick stitch with ladder stitch for the base row. And we're going to start by picking up 2 beads of the green. So we got that on our needle. Okay, and we're going to slide down. So you see those are resting up against that stopper bead so that they don't slide right off. And we're going to go back up through the first one. And pull. And then we're going to make it so that you see how they are together now. So they're sitting next to each other. So now we want to go back down through the second one. Okay, pick up one more green. And this is ladder stitch. And now we're going to go back up, or I should say back down through that second green. So it kind of makes a loop. So many loops with these threads. Okay, and then you want to kind of help it so it sits right next to each other. So now we've got 3 on there. Go back up through that one we just went through. And it's okay if this is a little wobbly, guys, because we have a technique here when we're done with the ladder stitch row to straighten it up. And then what we're going to do, just pick up one, go back through that last bead just in a different direction. So see how you got this? And it is very wobbly looking. And I actually pulled mine out when I was doing this thinking I'd forgotten how to do this. And then I was like, oh, there's that extra step at the end that straightens it. Okay. And sometimes you just kind of need to brush it down so it sits. So that's going to do that. And this is creating thread bridges. And we're going to use those thread bridges to attach for our second row for our brick stitch. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need a total of 9. So 5, 6. Go back through. 7. 8. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, last one. So now we'll go back through here. 9. And this too, if you're looking at this, you'll also realize that this little triangle can be the triangle top of a fringe earring. So if you've ever made fringe earrings before, or you want to make fringe earrings, this is what you would do to create your top. So if you look at this, you can have a bunch of fringe come down the bottom, and you've got nice even holes to go through for that. So that's another idea of what you can do with this. Okay, so we have our wobbly line. So what you're gonna do now to straighten up this wobbly line is you're gonna go back down through each bead, up through the one next to it, down through the one next to it, and so forth, to reinforce this row and bring them all together. So you see we're exiting that top bead right there. Now we're just going to go down through the bead next to it. Okay, and pull. Now we're going to go up through the bead next to it. Okay, and you see how those two already look a little straighter. Okay, now we're going to go down through the bead next to it. So I'd be curious, how many people watching are bead weavers? Who likes to do bead weaving? Oh, thank you, Zakia. Love reading the comments. Okay, so we're just going to go one at a time. Oh yeah, Santa Barbara girl, this stitch isn't hard. It always looks so messy to begin with though. It always makes me feel like I'm doing it completely wrong because it is very wobbly to begin with. Okay, so now we have a much straighter foundation row. So, oh, and Kristen does bead weaving, good. And Kat's done a couple times. Pineapple, 2 rings, more fun. Deborah's a bead weaver plus chainmail. Oh, chainmail's fun. Have you ever combined chainmail and bead weaving? Always thought that would be interesting. Oh, and Gelda just started bead weaving and is loving it. Oh, and Santa Barbara girl. Okay, and you do right angle weave. And then, oh, you got a new stitch. Yes, this is a fun stitch. And Deborah's a bead weaver. Good. I love bead weaving. Yay. We're all a bunch of bead weavers. Okay, so now we have ladder stitch. So that is a complete ladder stitch row. Oh, Kristen made cute Halloween gnome earrings. Oh, I wish I could see those. Those would be fun. Okay, so here is our base row. Can you show the finished tree again? Sure thing, Tina. Here is the finished tree. So there is the tree. We just did the base row, which is 9. And now it's going to start to naturally decrease. So the next row is going to have 8 beads, then 7, 6, and so forth. Oh, and Zakia is a bead weaver as well. Good. Oh, bead weaving is so fun, and there's so many different stitches out there. It's really just great to be able to kind of combine them and mix them up. I know. I want to see gnomes. Oh, and Kat knits gnomes. That's amazing. Gnomes are fun. They're delightful. Okay, so for row number 2, we're going to stick with the same color, which is green, and I put 2 beads onto my needle. Now, if you look here, now it can be a little hard to tell, but between these last 2 beads is a thread bridge. Between every bead is a thread bridge. what we want to do is we want to skip over the thread bridge. That's for the first two. And on the second thread bridge, that is the next set, is the one we want to slip our needle under. And I'm going to keep trying to turn this so we can see it at an okay angle. So we skipped over the first thread bridge between end bead 1 and 2, and we went under the thread bridge between beads 2 and 3 on this end. Okay, and we've got those 2 beads on there, and we're going to pull, and we're going to help them sit. And by sit means I want them to sit next to each other, so I'm just going to kind of push them over so that they are going like that. And we're going to straighten those guys up too. So we're going to go back through what was that second bead that we put on. So you see there, we're going back up through it. Okay, now to make them sit properly, we need to go back down through the bead next to it and up through that second bead. So we're still just doing all the beads on the second row. We're not really touching those base beads, that base row, except for using their thread bridges. Okay. And now when you pull it tight, they're lined up and sitting next to each other. So now for the next bead, you're only going to pick up 1. It's only when you start a new row that you pick up 2 at a time. So now we're going to go to the next thread bridge over and slip our needle under it. We've got that 1 bead on there. I'm going to pull it down and go back up through it. And pull. So now we've got 3 beads. And you can kind of see it a little bit, but it'll become more evident as we go. It's just notched in a little bit on the side. And that's what's forming a natural decrease. Okay, again, we're just going to pick up 1 bead. And this tutorial will actually go faster too because each row is going to be 1 fewer bead. So at first I was thinking this might be a little bit long to show the whole thing, but then I realized once we get the couple of the base rows done, which have the most beads, it's going to actually go very quick. Okay, so we just keep going over 1 thread bridge over. And keep going. You'll end this row with 8 beads. Okay, 2 more, and then we're going to go up to the next row. One more. All right, so we have rows 1 and 2, and you see that little decrease right there. Flip it around, and now we're going to do the next row, which is going to have 7, so we started the exact same way. Skipping over the first thread bridge, putting 2 on our needle, going to the second thread bridge over, going under it, going back through what was the second bead you put on, down through the first bead, and back up through the second to make them sit together. And now we're just going to do 1 at a time. And we'll see our little Christmas tree take shape. I actually think that this would be a really fun pattern to do bigger, to do, maybe you start with 15 beads or something. If you do it in increments divisible by 3, you'll be able to do 3 equal bands. But you could, of course, do whatever you like. Or you could do a really big tree that's like 20 wide and then just have it all green with mixed in at random intervals like little blue beads or red beads for Christmas ornaments. That would be super cute too. You wouldn't have to change the pattern at all. Okay, So we're already to the next end of the row. We will flip it around and we've got the 3 green rows right here. So you see right there, we've got the 3 green rows and they're starting to taper in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with our red. So I'm going to just pick up 2 reds, skip over the first thread bridge, go to the second, help it sit down. Now I'm still thinking about those beaded gnomes and the knitted gnomes. I'd love to see those. Okay, and then we want to make sure we go down again through the first one and up. Okay, and this is going to go quickly now. Yes, I love it, Deborah. I am too. I think that would be really fun to do a solid green tree with dotted beads for Christmas ornaments. Absolutely. And then you could do the gold up top for the star. You could still keep gold up top for the star, or you could do a tree trunk. Lots of options. Okay, I'm just going to add one at a time. And when we're done with this, we're going to connect our jump ring in the exact same way we connected our jump ring to the wreath earrings. Via a seed bead, and this pattern lends itself nicely because it ends up, and you'll see it in just a minute, it ends up with a seed bead on its side for the very last bead up top. So it's one of those things that is helping us out. Okay, flip it over. We got a row of red right there. And now we're going to do 2 more rows of red. 1, 2. Okay, just a couple beads on this row. It's just going to get smaller and smaller as we go. And if there's any step you want to see of this closer up, or pause your screen, these are all archived. You can go back and watch all of these shows in the future, and then you have the ability to pause, catch up if you're beading along with us. So that's always nice. Santa hat, yes, that would be cute. Yes, so I'm reading Santa Barbara Girl's comment as I'm beading. So I thought you meant just a Santa hat ornament, which I think would be so, or a Santa hat bead weave earring, but you're saying a llama ornament with a wreath around its neck and a Santa hat on. That would be very cute. I was at the toy store yesterday and there were all these llama stuffies. It was crazy. I should have taken a picture of it because there's so many llama stuffed animals. Okay, this is our last row of red. I do, you're right, Santa Barbara Girl. I have a challenge now. I have to, oh, that would be cute. Try and think, is it just his head that I do, or do I do his full body too? Okay, I think I might have gone through that one extra time as I was talking. So just go through it the way that we've been doing it. I think it'll be fine for this demo, but I got distracted trying to envision a beaded llama. Okay, last one, and then we're going to be done with the row of red, and we're going to jump up to gold, and gold's going to be real fast. Okay, so we've got green, and we've got red, and it's tapering in nicely. Okay, now we're going to do gold, so 2 beads of the gold, skip over the first thread bridge, go to the second, down and up. Okay, one more gold and then this row is done. We'll do the second row and then we'll do the topper, and then I'll show you how to tie it off, add a jump ring, and we will have this earring done. I did add a little extra thread bridge in there as I was chatting, so it is a little thicker right there. Oh, hi Susan. So this is brick stitch, yes. So earlier in the tutorial, we started with a ladder stitch going into brick stitch, and now we're doing brick stitch, which naturally tapers, which is great. So for this, when you want to make like a tree or a triangle, you don't have to taper. Okay, so last row of gold only needs 2 beads. So it is our first and last beads that we add. Just same thing, skip over the first thread bridge. Okay, up we go through that second bead. And same thing, we're gonna go back down to make them sit nicely. We're gonna go back down through the first bead, up through the second bead. Then they sit better. Oh, they're supposed to sit better. Okay, he is not cooperating how I want him to, so I'm gonna make him. There we go. Okay, and now last bead is our topper bead, which again is gonna be gold. And so this is what's nice. So you only have 2 beads up top there. And what you can do is you can just go down through that other bead next to it, pull, and what he's going to do is he's going to sit on his side. So you can see that that bead there is sitting on its side. Now what you need to do to finish this guy off is you start to weave in your thread. So you can just start to go through nearby beads. And I know we've been running a little bit long on this tutorial, so I'm going to just walk you through what you'll do, and then I'm going to show you how to attach the jump ring. So forward brick stitch, this is really a tight stitch. I find it very hard to get knots in there. I think if you sufficiently weave in your thread enough, you are okay without a knot in this particular case. Now, if you want to try to get a knot in there, go for it. I find it really hard because this is solid. This is like a solid piece right here. There's no holes, there's no gaps. So you can get your needle in and you can weave in your thread. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to weave in your thread here and then loop back up and across, always tracing your thread path so that it doesn't show. But if you kind of make some loops in there, I think you're fine without a knot. In this particular case, with a really tight brick stitch like this with these really small beads. But what you'll want to do for sure is, work your needle in there, go in different directions. So you're going up and down. Here I'll go up through another bead, and I just keep working it. Okay, when you do that for both of them, you'll trim your tails and you'll be good to go. To add a jump ring to this one, you're just going to do the exact same thing. Going to open up a jump ring. And we are going to slide it through that top bead. Oh, thank you, Santa Barbara girl. This is definitely putting me into the Christmas spirit for sure. So there we go with that top bead. Close it on up. You can add a jump ring, or not a jump ring, an earring hook. And we'll pretend that our tails are trimmed and all woven in. All right, so there you go. So we have little Christmas trees. And then don't forget, for next Halloween, or if you've got time and the beads at home, you can make some little candy corns. And then we have the quick and easy but sparkly earrings, which are these guys here using the Prestige crystal. So they're like Christmas crackers. And then we have the beaded wreath earrings, which is kind of like a daisy chain or even a right angle weave, where you've got some really pretty sparkly wreaths right here. So that was fun. So a trio of dainty little earrings that we were able to make. So that was fun. Let me flip the camera up real quick. Don't forget, if you have things in your shopping cart, to cash them out. I know that things sell out quickly in the lives, especially things like Christmas colors as we go into the Christmas season. Definitely something to think about. Let me do this. All right, that was fun, guys. Let me show you these because they are so sparkly. So those are fun. And I am wearing my earrings from last week's show, which are the opal gemstone chain earrings. That's fun. So definitely, if you came in a little late and missed one of the earrings, watch the replay. It is there for you to watch and enjoy and pause. And then you guys, thank you. This was fun. Santa Barbara girl, Laura, this was a fun show. I can't wait to do more of them as the holidays progress. So everyone have a very happy Halloween. Close out your shopping carts. If you have stuff in there, get it while we've got it, especially these holiday colors, the greens, the reds, the golds. They get really, really popular this time of year. So good thing to close that out and get them so you can start beading at home. Thank you guys. It's always fun. It's always great to also learn more about what you guys are up to, the knitted gnomes, and just how you like bead weaving. And I love that. I love that. It's great to share. So take care. Have a good Halloween, and I'll see you back here next